Let's pass a value into our started pipe so that we can choose whether we want it to be started or completed. The way that we do that is by adding a colon, and then the value we pass in will start with started as a string. And then in our started pipe, after the initial value, the parameters come in as an array. So I'm going to destructure this array and call the first item in the array status. So now instead of the string started over here, I can just say status, because using this destructuring syntax, the first item in the array is just status. So I'll save. You can see it works the same. If I come over here, change this to completed, hit save, they all go away. So now let's extract this string into an input called status. So in our to-do list, we'll add an input called status. Make sure we import input. And then back in our main file, in our list, we'll have an input called status, and I'll toggle this back to the string of started. And you can see we're showing all of the started to-dos again. So the string is going all the way from the main file of my app into the to-do list here, into the pipe here, and then filtering out the array of to-dos. So we can take this one step further and create a component called like status selector. And we know it'll have an output called select. And whenever that event is emitted, we'll go ahead and take this status, change it to status, then we'll set the status to the event that comes through. So now all that's left to do is implement this status selector. So I'll go ahead and create that real quick. So to make this work, we'll have an array of statuses of started and completed. We'll have an output called select. Again, this output select is just going to be this guy right here. And so the event we send out needs to be the string we want selected. And we can actually start by saying ng on init, where I say this select emit, and I'll emit this status is 0. Make sure we import all of this stuff. Import status selector from status selector. Add it to my directives. And I forgot one more thing with the select. I need to add the event emitter. So up here, import the event emitter. Hit save. And it emitted initially the event started here, which comes through as started, is assigned to status, and the status is pushed into the input of the to-do list. The to-do list takes that input, passes it into the filter, or the pipe as they're called, and the pipe takes that from this array and filters the to-dos based on it. So to configure this in our options, we'll go ahead and say ngfor status of statuses, and then on my select, we'll handle the change event and basically forward on the change event to our select event emitter. So select emit, and we'll grab the event.target.value, which if you've worked with events, that's a pretty common thing. The target's going to be the select, and we'll just grab the value off of it. In fact, it might even make sense to make this a ref, which we'll just call SEL. So instead of event.target, you could say SEL.value. And then just make sure these options have the status listed in the ngfor so that they show up in the dropdown. And whenever I change these, completed, started, complete one, completed, mark it started again, go back to started, add another, complete that, completed, and we have that entire flow working for us.